Google has invested almost $400 million in artificial intelligence startup Anthropic, which is testing a rival to OpenAI's ChatGPT, according to a person familiar with the deal.
So what's happening here is everyone has been talking about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is actually now the fastest growing app in history. It reached 1 million users faster than Instagram, TikTok, any big thing you can name. ChatGPT has outgrown them all. And
I think the numbers are something like it took Facebook a year to get to 1 million, Instagram 6 months, and ChatGPT like 6 weeks or 6 days, something like that. So yeah.
I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, you're on the right track on there. And OpenAI was initially started by Elon Musk and 3 others. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. And they basically created it as a research firm that was meant to be like for academic stuff. So everything that you see with the AI data models, they're all saying, for academic purposes, for research purposes at the beginning. And then they got $1 billion from Microsoft that invested in them in 2019, I believe it was, 2018, somewhere in that range. From that point on, Microsoft has been very adamant about OpenAI has to use Microsoft's Azure servers for all of their...
Basically, Microsoft and OpenAI have a partnership that allows them to do ChatGPT.
Yes, and also for DALL-E 2, so anything that OpenAI comes through. So Google initially they have some of their own things. LaMDA is the one that everybody had heard about last year when the Google researcher was telling everybody that the AI was sentient. That was their LaMDA chatbot that he was working on.
Right, and they nuked it.
Well, they haven't nuked it. They nuked him. That guy got fired.
Right, sorry. So there's some confusion in this story, but basically he believes that it was sentient. Some people have thrown water on that theory, both inside the company and out. LaMDA itself as a project is kind of probably, I would say, if it's not dead, it's maybe been deprioritized since his departure. I think that's fair to say.
What they're doing, they are still somewhat using it. They bought this new Anthropic company, and it's the same data set, basically, because all of these AI data sets they're pulling out of the internet. Whatever information is on the internet, text information, basically, on this case. Anthropic kind of adds the extra, I don't know how to say it, how to navigate that data, basically.
Secret sauce.
Yeah, the secret sauce and the algorithms on the top of it to make the data more useful. Anthropic, what they're doing, because Microsoft has announced they're going to be integrating ChatGPT into a lot. They're going to be putting it into Bing. Just recently this week, they had a leak where they showed the ChatGPT-powered Bing search engine, which still exists in case anybody forgot. They're putting it into...
Bing still exists, yes. Yeah. Bing still exists. Google competitor.
They're putting it into Teams. I think was the most recent thing they added to was Microsoft Teams, which I'm not exactly sure where ChatGPT has a place in their version of a Zoom call. But with all the things that they're trying, now this was their latest thing, is investing in a company that's going to help them kind of integrate their technology, their versions of OpenAI's technology into the Google search engine. Because the search is what everyone's really worried about. What's been going on in search over the last 10 years was the Google AMP program. And what that was doing was advanced mobile or accelerated mobile pages. And what it was doing was it would remove all of the HTML coding and JavaScript and everything from your text on your website and then host a mobile-friendly version on Google servers. And this had a huge effect on revenue for the New York Times, any media outlet. That's why they have a bunch of things that are going on for antitrust against Google and Meta, because getting these headlines onto their servers means that you get the news and the information without having to go to those sites, and they don't get ad money off of that. What Google was doing for a while, they were trying to make it to where you ask an answer and you get an answer. You don't have to leave Google. And now that Microsoft is integrating ChatGPT into Bing, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to make Bing a lot more competitive with Google to be able to give you an answer. And then two, it's going to make ChatGPT a lot more competitive, because right now it can only tell you data from the beginning of 2021 or earlier. So everything that's happened since 2021 is not included in ChatGPT. If you ask it about something new that's happening or someone who wasn't famous at the time, it will have absolutely no idea who it is. So the ability for ChatGPT to essentially Google the internet and get the right answers combined with its language programming is going to be a complete complete change of what we're actually doing on the internet right now. And Microsoft is ahead of Google, so this is Google trying to keep up and maintain its 90, or I think it's 88% now market share on search.
Yeah, I mean, to the sort of TLDR on that, essentially ChatGPT is going to allow Bing to become much more competitive with Alphabet's Google search product, because it'll basically use AI to improve the search results independent of actual human beings doing search, because essentially the quality of one's search and the result, besides it being somewhat individuated and self-selected for each person, the profiles that these companies create for their users based off of their search patterns, there's just the overall quality of the search engine and its overall algorithm as informed by the majority, the multiplicity of its users. But if Bing is only being used by, paraphrase your numbers, approx 10%-ish of the search market share. And frankly, if Alphabet, Google has, what did you say, 85, 86, Bing probably doesn't have 10%, they probably have less. They have
much less.
They're probably closer to 5 or 2. So if only those people are using Bing, that's a significantly smaller pool of users and data to pull from to inform your search results and make your engine, your algo, smarter. That's what made Google so great, is it just got huge market share and just became smarter, compounding on itself. So if they can kind of bootstrap or cheat, not for lack of a better word, like hack, cheat their way to an answer there, a workaround on the whole, we don't have a good user base, or we don't have a big user base thing, that's going to be huge for Bing, as well as using that data to make ChatGPT smart.
Exactly. So on both ends, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. If we fast forward 10 years from now, both these companies are still going to be relevant in some way. They might, even if Microsoft does take some of Google's shine, they're still light years ahead of anyone else. Like DuckDuckGo is the privacy-based alternative.
Yes, they're like the real quote unquote don't be evil option, because they don't steal your data. They
say that. The guy got
right.
some stuff on Twitter over the holidays exactly about this. There was a huge thing against that guy.
Sure. But for the sake of argument, they are one of the more ethical search engines on the marketplace. But as a result, again, that actually inhibits their ability to be competitive, because they don't mine and store data ostensibly in the same way as the other companies, which actually is a net market disadvantage to their search engine's functionality, because the way search engines work, especially going off of the Google model, is not conducive to privacy.
Or towards the people on the other end, like the publishers can't really get paid off of Google's model either. That's how Google and Meta became such huge companies, is off of advertising more than anything else. I mean, the search was just how they got the advertisers there, but once they became the biggest website on the planet, it didn't matter. They just made all the money off of advertising. And so, yeah, DuckDuckGo already has been at a disadvantage for 10 years. That thing's been around for over 10 years now. It still is very basic in its functionality, and now it's all the rest of the search engines are just taking it to the next level. And you have to imagine that Yandex and all the rest of them across the world are all going to follow suit, and this natural language processing is going to become a huge thing in the future, the very near future.
Indeed. This is Edokwin with Brian Penny for the AI Creator Economy podcast. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. You're going to get some good content throughout the week, every week.